Gather close by the flickering fire, where shadows dance and whispers conspire. It's time for a tale of dread and delight, where fear takes flight in the heart of the night. Toby, always the victim of his brother Richie's relentless pranks, decides to get ultimate revenge by faking his own death. He hatches a plan with Mr. Abernathy, the local mortician, to be buried alive and then dug up an hour later when Richie passes by. Facing high costs, Toby agrees to share a coffin with an unnamed corpse for a reduced rate. Late that night, Toby leaves a note at home explaining his resurrection and sneaks into the mortuary. He climbs into the red coffin, careful to avoid touching the corpse beside him. The lid closes, and he feels the coffin being carried to the burial plot. Once buried, the weight of the soil presses down, making the situation feel disturbingly real. Toby lights a match for comfort and is horrified to discover that the corpse beside him is actually Mr. Abernathy, his eyes wide open. Panic surges through Toby as he beats on the coffin lid in desperation, but the soil above muffles his cries. Meanwhile, Richie, unaware of the prank, casually passes by the cemetery. The confident plan of revenge spirals into a terrifying ordeal as darkness closes in. Toby's heartbeat races, breaths growing shallower with each passing second. Realizing he may have outsmarted himself, Toby is trapped in the grave, his own prank turned against him. The once elaborate scheme meant to scare Richie has become his worst nightmare. Trapped in the cold, suffocating darkness, he can only hope for a miracle as the chilling silence of the grave surrounds him. The prank that was meant to frighten Richie has turned against Toby, leaving him in a nightmarish reality from which there may be no escape. As one tale ends and silence reigns, let whispers rise and stoke the flames. In the heart of night, where shadows gleam, another story begins, its eerie dream. Emma moved into the old house on a crisp autumn evening, an eerie chill settling in as night fell. She couldn't shake off the sensation of being watched. Whispers echoed through the dark corridors, sending shivers down her spine. What were they trying to tell her? Curiosity consumed her, driving her to explore the ancient house. One night, she traced the whispers to a long, dark hallway. At the end, a hidden door loomed. With trembling hands, she opened the door, revealing a room shrouded in shadows. Dusty furniture cobwebs adorned it. In the center, an old desk stood with a forgotten diary atop it. Emma's heart raced as she opened the diary. The entries unveiled the house's sinister past, a tale of love, betrayal, and untimely death. The diary spoke of spirits trapped within the walls, seeking release. Emma's pulse quickened. Each night, the whispers grew louder, more desperate. She knew she had to uncover the truth. She pored over the diary. Realization dawned as she discovered a chilling secret. The whispers weren't just from the past. They were from the living, trying to communicate with her. The realization struck her like a lightning bolt. Whispers were pleas for help from the outside world. But why? The answer evaded her. Suddenly, the room faded into a cold void. She felt a strange detachment, a revelation dawning upon her. Emma was not just living in the house. She was part of it. She had been dead all along. Whispers she had heard were the voices of the living, reaching out to her. In that chilling moment, Emma realized her fate. She was one of the trapped spirits. The whispers had been a lifeline, a desperate attempt to connect with the world she once knew. The whispers grew silent, leaving her alone in the cold, dark void of her eternal prison. In the heart of night, where shadows gleam, another story begins. Its eerie dream. Imagine a serene forest clearing, bathed in the soft glow of twilight. Birds settle in their nests, and the world seems at peace. As night falls, shadows lengthen, and the atmosphere thickens. The once tranquil clearing takes on an eerie undertone. Campers gather around a crackling fire, sharing stories and laughter, unaware of the lurking menace. A sudden chill in the air sends shivers down their spines. The forest seems to whisper, its voice barely audible. One by one, they start experiencing strange visions. Trees twist into grotesque shapes, and ghostly figures flicker at the edge of their sight. Panic sets in as the hallucinations become more vivid. The clearing feels alive, feeding on their growing fear. Desperation leads them to run, but the forest seems endless, each path looping back to the cursed clearing. Whispers grow louder, almost tangible, wrapping around them like tendrils of mist, ensnaring their senses. Some try to rationalize the phenomena, but the relentless dread gnaws at their sanity. The fire flickers out, casting them into darkness. Every rustle, every shadow amplifies their terror. In the heart of the night, the forest spirits reveal themselves, ethereal and malevolent, basking in the camper's fear. The clearing is no sanctuary. It's a carefully crafted trap, a feeding ground for the forest spirits, thriving on the essence of fear. As the embers fade and shadows grow, the night's secrets we now bestow. Until next time, when darkness claims, we'll gather again beside fiery flames.